Well, I'm excited to learn a little bit more about your practice. I know that you're really involved as an not only with the Artist Network, but in a lot of different shows, and have showcased your work in the GTA for a number of years. Maybe you could share a little bit about what you're working on now and what your inspiration is.
Right. Well, what I'm working on now is commissions actually. But I just finished a series for ArtWalk Square. Like many artists, I tend to work to a deadline. So I often have a lot of paintings banging around in my head and I need some sort of impetus to get them out. So I showed a lot of new pieces at the live event that we had, which I think was a great success. So I guess I can maybe show you what those pieces were. The freshest ones are still on the wall because I like them to be out and airing out and curing for some time before they get piled away. So let me just turn my camera.
Yeah, and because you're an oil painter, right? Like all your work's done in oil paint?
Yeah, yeah. So it takes a while to cure. I mean, they're touch dry within a couple of weeks, but oil paint it can be up to a year before it's fully cured. So, I don't like putting it away in plastic bags. So I have a tiny studio, so I'm trying to get like a shot of it all. But so this is the newest work.
Oh, it's lovely.
Thank you. And so it's just going to sit out there, hang out in the studio for a while. Oops, there's some other stuff. Yeah, so it's just going to hang out. And what's my inspiration? So my inspiration is really sort of my life, the way I've lived my life for the last few years. Before I went back to painting, I was a mom. And so my whole world was with children. I volunteered in the school. So I've moved my volunteering now into the art world, but before it was with kids and in the school. So when I went back to painting, the subject matter that I knew the best was children and development and growth. So that's basically what my work is really founded in, is that experience of nurturing children or watching children grow and how different they are as they do it.
Yeah, so I think that's what's so appealing, because it's such a lovely connection with that many of us have experienced, right? Either growing up ourselves as like a memory that pops into our mind, or a feeling that it evokes with our own children or with nieces and nephews, or like this experience that you might have. I noticed that most of the pieces you have in the show they're all like around water, which is just like, I guess the whole summer it's been really nice. That I wonder if your stuff changes seasonally, or do you work with water all the time?
I tend to work with water, and you would think that it's because it's sort of a celebration of summer. And I guess in some ways it is, because I grew up in cottage country and I just I love that. But more than that, what I realized really early on, especially with my kids, because I have three, and they all have a very different approach to water. And watching the kids at the cottage, I found it remarkable how different they were and how visibly different they were when it comes to the water. So some of them are really brave and some of them are not. I have one who's very, very afraid of the water and is sort of overcome. Yeah. So the coolest note is that the water brings out who kids really are. They can't fake it. They can't put on a mask. They can try to be as brave, but that split second before they go into the water, you really start to see what their personality is. So I'm actually more interested in that than the water itself. That being said, the new work is sort of a different segue, and that's, I'm more interested in the water. So yeah, it's both. Kate says the video is pausing due to connectivity issues. That might be my fault.
Yeah, I think it actually has to do with the fact that she just tried to call me. Kate, I do get an interview. I was really, I actually, when we did that pop-up show, I went through your space there, and I looked at some of your pieces and looked at the reflection that you have in the water, and how lovely you're able to get the figure and the color of the water, and how brilliant that looks, and just how lovely. But most of all, I think just what a warm like feeling it has, like the different work, and you really can see the different characters of the people that you're profiling, and I really, like, you can see that's the kind of the expression, but also the energy and how they hold their body, and it's just so lovely. Do you just focus on your children, or do you have like other muses, or do you like do like you mentioned you're doing work for other people? Then are they sending images in, or is it just people you know? Like, I'm just wondering about your
Uh,
inspiration.
so my work comes from my own children. Maybe not as much as you would think. It's more of the children in my community. So my friends' kids, my kids' friends. You know, I can't get the variety. I have 3 kids, which is a lot, but you can't get the variety that you can when you sort of branch out into your community. So I do work from photographs, and I sort of take them from my friends and from my kids' friends, and of course I ask, and they're always generally happy to be photographed, or sorry, painted. And in terms of commission work, or the work that I do from other people, it's absolutely from images that they provide, and I help them select the images just to sort of to get the best representation. Yeah. So I always say that when I grow up as an artist, I'd like to be able to not work from photographs, but you know, the human body is so complex. That, you know, that's a mastery thing that I may never get my whole life, you know, but I keep trying.
Yeah. But even the feelings and like sort of what you allow into the background or don't, and what you showcase with the water or you don't, and the reflection and the color, I think that that's all like really shows you as an artist, right? Like, I think that
Yeah.
whole composition, and I think it's not just that figure and trying to represent that person. When I look at your work, to me, it's sort of more like a feeling, and just like you kind of want to smile at some of the characters and the characteristics. I mean, I'm a mother myself, so I think that it really appeals to me because of that, because of the experiences I might have had, that I kind of put that into your works. Like, oh yeah, I remember those sorts of, I remember the kids like that, right? Like, or I remember that sort of feeling being a kid myself, right? So I love your work. I noticed that you posted recently, I think it's just a picture of like just an outdoor scene of almost like kids going back to school. And I thought, oh, was that,
Yeah,
did
so
you
that was
post
a
that?
commission. Yeah, that was a commission work. So I do branch out with the commission work, and I work with the client, and it's really a collaboration. Um, so yeah, I mean, I will do other places. I've done kids in subways, and I've done, you know, kids outside and not on the water. For me, the you know what you said is kind of key, the what I do paint and what I don't paint. You know, I backgrounds or locations are important, but they're not that important to me as much. The action and the movement through the space is what I think is important, and the focus on the kids. And you know, I'm not going to lie, that is a mother's point of view, right? We often, when we're in around kids, we hyper focus on what they're doing for their safety or for whatever reason. So I'm really cognizant of that hyper focus on the children and the personalities themselves, because though where they are is important, it's not the reason for the painting, if that makes any sense.
Right. And yeah, yeah. I think that it's just lovely. Your work has really evokes a really like lovely feeling in it. I was just a question popped in my mind about how you're showcasing your work now. Like, are you finding it easy to show it online? I noticed that one year in that pop-up, which was great because you could connect to people, but then you also extended it into showing work in your backyard so that people could still come in and see your work in person. And also you're in the preview at the Leslie Grove Gallery. So maybe you can talk a little bit about how you connect with your art buyers and how you showcase your work.
Yeah, so a lot of it is, I mean, we've all shifted online. So, you know, I'm focusing on Instagram, and I'm focusing on my client base. And, you know, we've been building clients in real life for the last little while, or at least I have for the last 3 years. And so I think the online outreach is great. I think people are engaging with it because, again, they're looking and craving culture, and they're interested in, and they too are locked in their homes. So that works for us. But also, it's hard to show work online, and it's hard to give a sense of it and maybe get the feeling like you were talking about how you saw it in real life. So I have been offering studio visits, outdoor social distance studio visits. I've trucked things onto my front porch. You know, I'm trying to have things in real life where people can go see them safely alongside the online. It's a challenge for sure. And I think people have been really great and really forgiving. And I think it's really neat how we're all trying to innovate and we're trying to find new ways to do that.
Yeah, to connect with people. Yeah, I agree.
Hmm.
And you have a really lovely little piece in the preview show at the Leslie Grove Gallery, which some of people can easily go there during
Hmm.
our regular gallery hours, which I think are Wednesday through to Sunday now. We're open on Sundays,
Yeah.
and they can take a look at your work there. It's lovely, right? Um,
Yeah, it's part of my portrait series. So I do portrait work. I guess I should maybe give you a little quick peek at that. Some of my commission work is focused on portraiture, but I also do it for myself just because I love to do it. So I've just got two little ones here that are in the same series. Oops, supposed to flip the camera that way. So there's that one and that one,
Lovely.
which is part of this same series that's up in the Leslie Grove Gallery.
Yeah, and that's a different shape as well from your regular canvas, right? Like it's a circular panel. That's on panel there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the tondos I'm seeing them everywhere. I find a lot of artists right now are playing with tondos and they are really fun to sort of challenge yourself compositionally because it's really difficult to work in a tondo. You're kind of stuck with a central composition and to play with that is really interesting and challenging.
Yeah, so I think it works really well for those portraitures that you're doing. Like it's sort of a different shape. So not only that, like it stands out, it just pops out a little bit more on the wall. I find like I really noticed in the gallery, it kind of just pops out against some of the other work, and not only just because it's like got a nice brilliant red in it, which I love, but yeah, I think it's a great opportunity to kind of expand and test and play with new materials or shapes of even boards and canvases, right? So I think that's great. Is there anything else you want to share about your practice, like maybe your favorite colors or something else that something that really influences you, maybe an artist that influences you?
So I'm very influenced by well, I'm influenced by a lot of people. My work is sort of born out of genre painting, 19th century genre painting, which is sort of out of the French Impressionists, but not as much the French Impressionists as Cassatt and more so. And the women in that were stuck at home doing these kind of hobby drawings or recording their family history. And so my work is really sort of pulled out of that scenario and mixed sort of in a contemporary, with a contemporary perspective. I don't know, my favorite color is clearly blue. I couldn't live without phthalo blue. Uh, it is, I don't use black ever. So it's phthalo blue is sort of the basis of all of my work. And I've actually had instructors and other people that I've worked with that are quite shocked that I choose to use that because it is a very, very, very strong pigment. And I've somehow learned to play with it in very small increments, and I can make it do a lot of really neat things. So it is my staple. I don't think I could live without it.
Yeah. I sort of agree with you. So I don't use black actually in my work either, except for I use a bit of Indian ink. And I just think like I think there's quite a few artists that actually don't use black, right? Like you use other colors to create that black or to create that deep color. And I think it just makes for a really brilliant piece, right? So you don't need to use the black for the contrast.
Yeah, there's some depth. I like the depth that I can create, and I can use different blacks, and I can make like I just find that with black you're sort of stuck, and then you have to augment. I don't know. Yeah, I think you get stuck with what you learn, and I learned with five colors, a very limited palette. So I learned to mix all of my colors. So I actually don't have a wide palette. Everything is sort of mixed as I go, because that's how I learned. I don't know. I guess my life would be easier if I just used pre-mixed colors, but I don't.
Yeah. No, I think your work's just lovely. I know that I've seen a number of your posts which actually help us understand a little bit about your process because you do a lot of these time lapse videos, which are really cool, like of your painting. So I encourage our viewers to take a look at those because they're really exciting to see how Corynn's paintings come to life. It's a lot of fun to watch an artist in motion. I don't know if you have any of those uploaded onto the ArtWalk in the Square online store site, but I'm sure that they're in your feed, right?
Yeah, they're on Instagram for sure, and some are on Facebook. I tried to get them on the store, but I couldn't figure out how exactly it worked, and so I kind of gave up. But yeah, there's plenty on my Instagram, and I'm always happy to answer questions or help fellow artists. I think we all learn from each other, so that's part of the impetus behind putting this out is to sort of reach out to other artists and help them up along the way as well.
Well, we know that's part of your characteristic because not only are you an artist, but you have been on the board for the Artist Network for many years, and you also are the director of our gallery, the Leslie Grove Gallery. And I know that that takes a lot of energy and effort to help all artists in their art practice and to showcase their work. So I want to thank you for all your efforts around the gallery, because it's a lovely space. If you haven't gotten out to check it out, it is open now. So take a look at that and take a look at Corynn's work online. I don't know if there's anything else you want to share, Corynn, but otherwise I think I'm going to say goodbye.
Just wanted to let you know that there's actually a new show going to be installed. I'm installing on Tuesday for Leslie Grove Gallery. So I always have to put the plug in there. So go in and check out our new show. It'll be up as of Wednesday.
Right. Well, thanks so much for sharing a little bit and showing us a little bit about you with your space there. And I encourage everybody to check your posts and check out the store. Thanks so much.
It was fun.
All right. Thanks. Bye-bye.